Unit 3: Innovations in Sustainable Agriculture and Subsistence Food Production, Backyard Gardening, Community Farming, and Other Traditional Practices. When you think of innovation, do you picture a farm? Technology isn't just transforming our cities, it's transforming how we produce food. And in a world increasingly impacted by climate change, agriculture innovation isn't just a luxury, it's a necessity. In this video, we'll dive into the innovative practices shaping the future of food production, especially in communities most vulnerable to climate change. Along the way, we'll ask some important questions that might just spark the change we need. Let's start by acknowledging the elephant in the room: climate change. It's intensifying droughts, floods, and extreme weather. How can we feed a growing global population when the land we rely on becomes more unpredictable by the day? Shouldn't we ask ourselves, can traditional farming techniques withstand this storm? Fortunately, agriculture isn't standing still. Farmers around the world are adopting modern innovations like drip irrigation, which conserves water, and soil-less farming techniques like hydroponics and aquaponics. These methods allow us to grow food even in areas with limited space or harsh conditions. But here's the thing: these innovations also come with challenges. For instance, did you know the soil-less farming requires more energy than traditional farming? So, we have to ask, is the energy cost worth the trade-off if it means we can produce food year-round in any environment? In places where land is scarce, like cities, innovations such as vertical farming make it possible to grow food on balconies and rooftops. But how do these high-tech methods compare with more traditional subsistence farming? After all, for millions of small-scale farmers, growing food isn't just a job, it's survival. Traditional farmers often depend on methods passed down through generations. Some may still use practices like intercropping, planting different crops together to enrich the soil and deter pests. But here's a question: is it enough to preserve these methods, or should we be blending tradition with technology? Let's look at some innovative approaches being applied to subsistence farming. In India, farmers are using organic pest repellents like cow urine mixed with mustard oil to protect crops. In Tanzania, farmers are practicing zero tillage, a method that conserves the soil by avoiding plowing, which can lead to erosion. But here's another critical question: how do we scale these small innovations to make a global impact? Can small-scale farmers alone lead the charge, or do we need greater investments and collaboration from governments and businesses? Consider the Sustainable Sugarcane Production Technology Project in Maharashtra, India. Farmers here were struggling with poor soil health, rising input costs, and climate change. But by adopting an innovative set of agronomic practices like wider plant spacing and better water management, they significantly increased their yield. So, how can we replicate this success in other farming communities around the world? There are several best practices emerging in the field of sustainable agriculture. For example, farmers are starting to harvest rainwater to combat water shortages, and some are using agroelectric production, growing crops under solar panels, which not only increases food production but also generates renewable energy. Another game changer: technology. In Africa, small farmers are using apps to access real-time weather data, market prices, and even financial services. Imagine the power of having that much knowledge in the palm of your hand. Could this level of connectivity revolutionize how we approach food production on a global scale. And then there's the importance of community-based solutions. Farmers in Mozambique are using gabion baskets and leaves to protect their farms from flooding. It's not just about food production, it's about protecting the land and water that sustains it. But innovation doesn't stop at production. Agro-processing is another area ripe for change. Modern methods like high-pressure processing and ultrasound treatments help preserve food while minimizing waste. But even small-scale innovations like solar drying or fermentation can make a big difference, especially in subsistence farming. So where do we go from here? Can innovations in sustainable agriculture and subsistence farming provide a pathway towards greater food security? And most importantly, how can we make these innovations accessible to all, regardless of geography or income level? The future of agriculture depends on our ability to innovate, collaborate, and make smart, sustainable choices. But the question remains, are we ready to rethink how we grow, process, and share the food that feeds our world? The seeds of change are already being planted. Will you be part of the harvest? This publication was made possible through the funding provided by Global Affairs Canada under the Empowering Women and Girls project. The Commonwealth of Learning wishes to thank the contributors to this video: Kuntal De, Sandy Hart, Francis Ferreira, Cyrus Kithuva, and Colin Somondi.